Greetings, guys, gals, non-binary pals, and welcome back to another video. As we all know, I love to fall down TikTok rabbit holes. I end up in them constantly. And so the other day I was in one again, and it was just like conservative women. I don't entirely know how I got there, but I did. And then I was just going through TikToks and some of their takes and was just a bit startled and needed to talk about it as per usual. And that's what you're here for me to sit down and just talk about rabbit holes that I've fallen into. So today that rabbit hole is conservative women on TikTok. But before we get into it, I would like to say a massive thank you to today's patron of the day, Samuel. I appreciate your support so much. Thank you so much for joining. I hope that you enjoy this video. And if anyone else would like to become a patron, you go to patreon.com/savvycat. It starts at as little as £1 a month, and I appreciate all of the support very, very much. Let's get into some conservative women. Let's have a dive. Things I never got for free because of my skin color. Diversity scholarship. A whole month. Entire movie selection. Being a white woman, we're like so oppressed because we don't get any of those three things just because we're white. Ma'am, I need you to understand why those things exist in the first place. We don't have diversity scholarships, we just have scholarships. The reason the diversity scholarships exist is because people of color were not being given scholarships enough. They weren't being granted to them. Only white people were being given scholarships. So they introduced diversity scholarships in order to force people of color to be given scholarships. And they are all worthy of receiving those scholarships. It just means that they aren't affected by the subconscious bias and therefore overlooked because of their skin color. That's why that's there. A whole month? Honey, every month is White People Month. It's always about us. We don't have a month because we have the whole fucking year. There's no White History Month because that's fucking every day. That's every day. Even during Black History Month, it's still about white people, you know? Like, what changes in your life during Black History Month? I doubt it's fucking anything. I doubt you do shit. So like, don't act like it fucking matters. And then in terms of an entire movie section, all the movies, they don't need to put it separately because it's literally all the movies. You do have an entire section because like if they're putting like the movies for people of color in a separate place, that means the rest of them, that's your section. Like, the reason these things exist is because there's not much of it. It's always about us. It's always about white people. And that is because of our skin color. So you do get scholarships for your skin color. You do get all the movies because of your skin color. You get all the months because of your skin color. Like, chill, all right? Like, use your brain, use your eyes. Okay? Okay. This is a photo of her wearing like a nice, like, top that's like got a decent amount of cleavage showing, and it says, "Aren't you afraid of your public safety?" And then it is her firing a gun saying, "Isn't that what the Second Amendment's for?" I feel like you're a little bit too excited to use a gun on someone. I feel like you're a little bit too excited about that prospect. Like, I disagree with the first question being asked, like, if it was specific to what you were wearing. If people are looking at your outfit and, like, you going out and they're like, "Aren't you worried about your safety?" Like, I think that that question shouldn't be directed at you because that's, like, a very victim-blamey sort of question. But I don't think the response should be, "No, because I have the means to fucking kill them." Like, and also having a gun doesn't necessarily ensure your safety either. Just throwing that out there.
Women hate men because men oppress, harass, assault, rape, and abuse women. Men have made women hate them. If you have negative experiences with men, some people will jump to the conclusion of using that to paint all men. If you get bitten by a dog, do you view all dogs as a threat? Probably not. we have to inject nuance into our conversations. And at the end of the day, I think these women are doing it in their personal lives. I do think they are looking for men. I do think they have brothers and fathers and uncles and cousins who they would characterize as being good men. So they know that there are men out there that exist, just maybe in their personal experiences, they've yet to receive that. And there's something to be said for maturing out of this mentality as well. In their probably 30s and 40s, they're going to come to realize, oh yeah, well, not all men. I hate to say not all men, but yeah, not all men are like this. It's just a simple fact. It's the truth.
Well, first and foremost, when people are bitten by a dog, they do typically categorize all dogs under that. A lot of people, when they're bitten by a dog, go on to not trust dogs, at least for a very long time. That is a very, very common thing. My mom was attacked by a dog when she was like a child, and she was scared of dogs like for like 40 years, maybe longer. She spent ages being scared of dogs. They were just not for her. She like felt uneasy around them until I managed to wear her down and get a dog. And now she likes dogs, but it took a really, really long time of being untrustworthy and not liking dogs. And there's still like specific breeds that she doesn't like because of the fact she was like attacked by one when she was a child. And that is a very common thing to happen. And it like the going into like, I'm sure they have dads and brothers and uncles and cousins. Like there are always exceptions to the rule. It's not about saying every single man is bad. It's just on like a base level, not trusting men. It's about being like, I don't trust men. And then occasionally there'll be some men that you do trust. However, they're in the minority, you know? It's about saying like, in general, I don't trust men. In general, men have hurt me and I don't trust them to not hurt me. In general, men scare me. You go into a room full of men and I'm not going to feel safe. I don't know who is going to hurt me and who isn't. And it is easier and safer to assume that they're all going to hurt me than to assume none of them are going to hurt me, because that can put you in a little bit of trouble. If you go in and just start trusting everyone, they have to like earn your trust. And like dads, brothers, uncles, cousins, people you've grown up with, etc., they've already earned that trust. So like, I think if you're speaking about a majority and like not trusting men, you can say, I don't trust men, I don't like men, and no, it excludes a few people. But like in general, like no one, they're not saying all men, they're just saying men. It says, when liberals tell me I'm homophobic and transphobic, but I actually just understand how biology works. Well, that doesn't change the fact you're homophobic and transphobic. This just means you're homophobic, transphobic, and lying about the fact you know how biology works. Being gay and being trans are biologically like a natural thing that occurs. And it occurs across the animal kingdom as well. Like biology supports being queer. So if you're saying, I understand how biology works and you're against being like trans and gay, then you don't understand how biology works. You just have like a really basic concept and think you do. And you are transphobic and homophobic. Like if you are saying that queer people are not natural and that you don't think queer people should exist or express themselves, regardless of anything, that's transphobic and homophobic. Like there's no way around that.
All that work and what did it get me?
This says, Democrats after trying everything to get Biden votes just for people to still think he's a corpse. And it's with the like Kurt Hummel audio of all that work and what did it get me? And I just find it so incredibly amusing how so many conservatives and like Republicans think that like people love and adore Biden, because I know she's specifically saying Democrats here, but most of the time they're referring to like leftists and they just don't understand the difference between like a leftist, liberal, like all that, they get them all muddled up. Usually they're actually referring to leftists. I am just so obsessed with the fact that they constantly think that leftists love Biden. They want to see Biden in power, and they're like screaming for him to get reelected and wanting him to be on the ballots, and they think that everyone like loves Biden and wants him to run again and to win and be president, etc. When that is like not even a little bit true. It's very much agreed upon that like he's awful. He shouldn't be there. He shouldn't be running for president again. He shouldn't be president. He is a very like old conservative man that has been doing some terrible things and committing horrible atrocities. People don't fucking want him there. But like, what choice is there? You know? Trump shouldn't be fucking running either. Both options are shit. They both suck so bad. And I love that Republicans people think about Biden the way they think about Trump. Like, I've never seen people like stan a political leader like Trump supporters stan Trump. Like, I do not understand how he created like a fucking cult. It's ridiculous. It's wild. And then for some reason, the Republicans have all turned around being like, and so obviously that's how they feel about Biden. No, not even a little bit. No one fucking stans Biden. Not a thing. For a group of people who is like, we don't trust the government. The left, they trust the government. We don't trust the government. For people who like to say that, you really do fucking love Trump. Astounding. Astounding. Whenever I'm feeling down, I just remind myself that $1 trillion worth of propaganda didn't work on me. I find it so funny that these like Republicans, these conservatives, like to think they're breaking the norm and they're breaking out of the mold, being like, all this leftist propaganda hasn't worked on me. As though your entire like political existence there is all conservative. The Democrats are conservative and the Republicans are just more conservative. Literally, like, everyone is fucking conservative. No one is investing in brainwashing you into becoming like a queer socialist. Like, that's not a thing that's happening because that goes against everyone in power in your fucking country. They're all capitalists. They're all old white Christian capitalists. They're all conservative. I don't know, like, you are falling for the brainwashing because the brainwashing is for capitalism. It's for being conservative. It is for staying the same. It is for traditional family values. Like, that is what your country, like, stands for. That is what is normal. Conservative literally means conserving. It means keeping it the same. If you are a conservative, you are like trying to fight for nothing to change and for it to stay the same. I don't know. It's just so funny thinking that like we're the ones who are brainwashed when we're the ones who have actually left the bubble and are like looking at things from an outside perspective and being like, hey, you know what? Things need to fucking change because it's kind of not great the way that it is right now. Wanting to keep things the same, I would say is a little bit more of a brainwashy place to be. But maybe that's just me.
Why can't everyone just love who they want to love? I just love Jesus.
Hey, did you know that there are Christians on every side of the political spectrum? Did you know that you are allowed to love Jesus and have faith and also be a liberal or a leftist or wherever? Like, all power to you. Follow whatever faith you have. I don't give a fuck. As long as you aren't using it to like hate people and like fuel bigotry, do what you want. No one cares if you believe in God. No one cares if you're a Christian. They just care when you use it to be an asshole. They just care when you're like, well, fuck you for being gay because the Bible said you're not allowed to be. Like, then I have a fucking problem. But outside of that, I honestly do not care. I think that if you find like peace and comfort and happiness within religion, then all power to you. That's great. I'm so happy for you. If that brings you comfort and peace, I love that for you. I'm so glad that you have that in your life. As long as you are using it for yourself and for your own comfort and not using it to just like be a dick, all power to you.
Can someone please tell me where the masculine men are out there? I suppose that depends on what one's definition of masculine is. However, they happen to be everywhere, but a lot of them are hiding.
Seems like there's more men nowadays that want to be the woman in the relationship.
Let's hear this one out.
What happened to the chivalrous man? They're far and few between.
Modern feminism happened, convincing men that they suffered from toxic masculinity and that women can do everything on their own so they don't need men to act in a chivalrous manner.
If you are them, where do we find you?
They've been out there the whole time, but frankly, a lot of them are avoiding contact with a lot of women because they never know which ones are going to yell at them for holding open a door.
It's not at the local Home Depot. I've seen that trend. Like, oh, go find your man at Home Depot. No, the guy that's there on a Saturday morning is there because his wife sent him there to get the shit to work on a project.
Okay.
Maybe I can find you at Costco in the meat market.
Meat market, huh? Yeah, I'm not touching that one.
But literally, what happened to the masculine men? Where do I find you? Where do women in general find you? And when did men become such little dusty boys? All right, rant over.
Honestly, women have no one but themselves to blame for this in modern feminism because they constantly demanded that men change their ways and stop being so toxically masculine, and this is the result. So, again, be careful what one asks for, because you just might get it.
I love when she interrupted the TikTok just to, like, literally breathe. It's fucking so funny. I love the whole thing that has been around for, like, a few years now, where whenever we talk about, like, masculinity or toxic masculinity, for some reason, the example that conservatives always go for is holding a door open. Like, that's, like, the epitome of masculinity that, like, feminists hate. It's so baffling to me. It's like whenever people are complaining about feminists or whatever, they're like, I won't yell at you for holding a door open. I'll let a man hold a door open for me. Feminists hate me because I let men hold doors open for me. Like, feminists are destroying masculinity because they yell at men for holding the door open for them. What? Who is doing that? When has that happened? Did that happen like one time? You've held on to it forever? Like, no one gives a shit if you're holding the door open for anyone. I hold the door open for people all the time. People hold the door open for me all the time. I'm so confused by this notion. I have no problem with someone opening a door for me. I also have no problem with opening the door for myself or for other people. Like, why is this the thing that conversation centers around? Why is this the thing that determines masculinity? Like, the most toxically masculine thing men can do is hold the door open, and feminists hate it. Is that just to try to, like, dilute what we're saying? It's definitely what it is. It's being like, women hate masculine men. They wouldn't even let them hold the door open, just to try to dilute what we're saying. Toxic masculinity isn't about holding doors open. Toxic masculinity is literally just about letting masculinity dictate your life. That's all. That's literally it. It's about just like, hey, don't let this idea of what it means to be masculine rule your life. You're allowed to have emotions. You are allowed to take breaks. You are allowed to do whatever you want. You don't have to prove to anyone that you are masculine. You don't have to only feel anger. You have more emotions than that. That's literally it. No one is encouraging men to stop being masculine. It's just giving men the option to not be masculine should they wish to not be masculine. It's all about choices. That's all feminism has ever been about. It's literally just about choices. It's telling men they can be who they want and do what they want. And if masculine men are hiding because they're afraid, I just don't think that's true. I just really don't think so, considering how many men I see constantly on TikTok, on Twitter, like everywhere, talking about masculinity and why it's good to be masculine, etc. Like, they're not hiding. They do exist, and there are a lot of them. A lot of them just fucking suck because the way masculinity is enforced is not healthy. And I think that we should be encouraging, like, a balance. And I find it just astounding being like, feminism ruined men. Feminism has just given men the option to be who they want to be. And then a lot of men are just unhappy about that. And a lot of women are just unhappy about that. They like living in boxes. They like being restricted. And they like not having any control or power. And it's just so strange. It's so strange to me.
Where are the men that actually care about emotional connection?
Well, the first place that some women should look that are actually asking that question would be the friend zone. You know, that place that a lot of women put men that actually show them kindness, consideration, and understanding. Try looking there first.
Like, where are the men that actually want to build something with their person?
And the second place that some of these men will be found will be sitting quietly in their homes, enjoying the peace and tranquility that comes with being single.
Because I don't understand. It's just like, that's long gone. Emotional, spiritual, and mental connection is completely fucking gone, apparently.
No, it's not. But a lot of women forget that part of actually finding that connection would involve listening to their partner, not just their partner having to listen to them.
And all they really care about is physical attraction and gaining physical attention. So
that might be in large part due to a lot of women only being focused on a man's finances.
I don't know what kind of world we're living in, but honestly, if someone is not willing to connect on a mental, spiritual level, like, it's just not happening. I'm sorry.
We are living in the kind of world that modern feminism has created.
This woman really bothers me. Like, there's something about her that's just like, she's so condescending. It really irks me. But like, her condescending irksomeness aside, I find this so fascinating because you're vouching for masculine men while also saying that toxic masculinity is bad, but also saying that that doesn't exist. Saying that it's important for men to share their emotions, but also that it's our fault for encouraging them to do so, that they aren't sharing their emotions. Like, I don't really know where you're sitting on this line here. And also the friend zone, it's not real. That's a made up thing. We're allowed to be friends with men. It's not our fault if we aren't attracted to them. We're allowed to have friends who are men. We don't owe them anything. We don't owe them a romantic relationship or a sexual relationship or anything like that. We are allowed to just have friends who are men and have connections with men and have them as friends. And I don't think that that's a bad thing. I think that that's a completely valid thing to want to have friendship with a man, and sometimes that progresses into a relationship and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you just don't fit together like that. You just don't vibe as a couple, and that's like totally fine. The question is still valid, like especially if you've got like two male friends that you like connect with on an emotional level. That is not very many. There should be more there. You should be able to make more connections like that with men. There should be that should be a possibility. Men in general, I think that a majority, if not all men and people in general, should be able to communicate their emotions and their desires and like be able to form that connection with people. So being like, check in the friend zone, that's where they are. It's like they should also be everywhere else. They shouldn't be in the minority. It should be the majority of people who are like emotionally intelligent enough to have conversations and communicate and connect.
Snot girl, I think you dropped something. My jaw.
And the caption for this is, when you see another conservative girl standing up for her beliefs. That's not rare. This is what I don't understand. They live in this like ridiculous little bubble where they think that they're in the minority. Like you are the majority. You are the majority. Like, even as far as like Democrats and liberals and etc. go, a lot of them are closer to conservative than they are to like leftist. There's a lot of like centrist people who are balancing leaning right. Like, you are not the minority that you think you are. Most people are conservative. Like, it's nothing new. Stop acting as though you're the only conservative woman in the world. There are so many. There's so many. There are like literally like millions of them. Like hundreds of millions of conservative women. Don't act like you've never seen a conservative woman before. Come on. They just love to feel special. And it's so funny because they like to tell us we like to feel special. They're like, you're only pretending you're gay because you want to feel special. You want to be different. I'm like, you have such a ridiculous individuality complex that you pretend being conservative makes you special. Like, don't come at me saying I'm just trying to feel special and different and important. Like that's all you do is lie to yourself about being special and different and better when you're literally just like conservative. Imagine how different this world would look if people worshipped God like they do Taylor Swift. You know how many religious people there are in the world? I feel like let me hold up. So in the world, right? In the entire world, approximately like less than 20% of people are unreligious. So you're in the majority here. Like in the US alone, it's like 60% of people are Christian. And then there's other religions as well. Acting as though you are in the minority of people who worship God is so funny. 31% of the entire world is Christian. That's like a phenomenal number. 2.38 billion people are Christian. And you'll imagine if people worshipped God the way they worship Taylor Swift. Come on. There are very few people who are worshipping Taylor Swift like she's a god, right? Like, she has a lot of fans, yes. And a lot of them are Christian and also worship God. So, I don't know, man. A lot of Taylor Swift fans are Christian. Taylor Swift herself is Christian. These people just like to say shit, don't they? They just come on the internet and like, you know a thought that I have that means absolutely nothing? I pulled straight out of my ass, but is obviously true because I decided it was 5 seconds ago. Let me post it. You just look stupid. You just look ridiculous. Like you're doing the opposite of anything that you think you're doing. I think that I'm going to end this one here. It was a little bit shorter than normal. I didn't anticipate it going this quickly, but here we are. It went quite fast and now we have reached the end. I hope that you did enjoy. If you did, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I'm here twice a week and I would love to see you again soon. Massive thank you to my Sprout and Above patrons whose names are up on the screen right now. I appreciate you greatly. And a huge thank you to my Kiwi Cat patrons. Bobby, Josh, Mandy, Ikazel, Jessica, Eldo, Danielle, Raven, Elias, Chris, Samuel, and Knitting Menace. I love and appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for joining. If you would like to be on Patreon, you go to patreon.com/savvycat or click the top link in the description. For as little as £1 a month, you get my videos a day early, and then for £3 and up, you get things such as outtakes, bonus mini podcasts, live streams, vlogs, and more. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, The Queer Kiwi, and Twitter, That Queer Kiwi. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day. Stay safe. Keep fighting. I love you. Mwah.
When you close your eyes.